Good evening, everyone gathered here. It is with a great pleasure and enthusiasm that I extend a heartfelt welcome to an exceptional speaker who has dedicated her life to the pursuit of purpose and motivation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the remarkable Vibhuti Duggar. Vibhuti Duggar is not just an international motivation speaker and a corporate trainer. She is a beacon of inspiration for those in search of purposeful life. Her own journey of self discovery, delving deep into the mysteries of human mind, and her unwavering commitment to personal growth and transformation have culminated in her mission to empower individuals to unlock their inner potential. Today, she partners with organizations, both large and small, to ignite the minds of their employees, fostering productivity and personal growth. Vibhuti's workshops and speeches are known for their high interactivity, energetic engagement, and actionable insights. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, we are privileged to have Vibhuti Duggar with us, ready to share her wisdom and inspire us on our path to success. Please join me in in giving a warm welcome to the embodiment of purpose and motivation, Vibhuti Duggar. Hi, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. And it was quite lengthy. I, I think I'll give a short one before I start. I've been told that I have to speak about my life and my journey. I'll stick to that. And to start with, my name, you all know a little bit about me, you heard. So I started my journey back in 2004 and 2004 and 6 was the main 2 years of my life, which I said that, it's the turning point. As we'll go back there, but today I'm a corporate trainer, public speaker. I'm a poet and I'm an artist. I do wall painting and I'm mother of 2 kids. And that is the most important part of my introduction always, because motherhood has taught me so much about life. I don't want this to become a monologue. So I would definitely want you all to ask questions whenever you feel like. Because I've been told that I have to speak about my journey. I'll try not to brag too much and give you the truths as well, because it is not the ups of life, but the failures and the downs that actually teach us so much. And while growing up, I'm born and brought up in a city called Raipur. How many of you know Raipur? This is so good now, earlier days, whenever I used to say that I'm from Raipur, people would say, "Kahan, Jharkhand mein hai?" And I used to say, "No, Chhattisgarh mein." "Oh, Chhattisgarh is a state, is it?" I said, "Yeah, it was part of MP, but now." So I had to really give details to actually come to a conclusion that Raipur ek shehar hai aur acha khasa shehar hai. Born and brought up here. While growing up, I was told, I say that, till one half of my life, which is till 21, 22 years, I was a girl without any dreams. I had no dreams. Indirectly, I was told that after graduation, you'll get married, you have your family, you'll have kids. And that's what your life would be. And I was okay with it because all my cousins were also leading the same life. I was like, "Mujh mein aisa kya hai? I don't have anything new." I never thought that I have anything good in me. I thought I'm a simple, timid, shy girl. Nikal jayegi zindagi, jaise taise. I used to have 5 friends in school, close friends. And I remember very clearly, vividly, whenever I used to sit in front of, sit with them in anywhere and in the table, if a 6th person would come in, I would get up from the table. I was so uncomfortable in front of any stranger. I would get up, go to another table till their conversation is done, and then come back. And if I speak to anybody apart from these few people whom I was comfortable with, my eyes would be always down. I could not speak with anybody having eye contact. Now, जैसे होता है, normally graduation final year का exam दिया, BCom. In a college, the college I did my BCom with, my parents said that co-ed college में हम नहीं भेजें. Though I studied all my school life in a co-ed education. I hardly spoke to any guys because I was too scared. My parents were too conservative. My deadline to come home was 6 p.m. So I was allowed only after 10th, 11th, once a month I was allowed to wear jeans. Otherwise, salwar kameez, pin dupatta, oiled hair. That was my life. And somewhere I had made peace with it. मुझे कोई बहुत मुश्किल नहीं थी. कोई बहुत painful story नहीं. By that time, I was okay with it. I said, यही है life. Then uh, life takes different turns and लड़के देखना चालू हुए. The process started. The moment I wrote the final exam of my final year BCom, the next week there was a guy sitting to see me. So if are you interested in poetry, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're okay, because I think this is the crux of what happened in that time. I'm going to just read out one poem. So, because it will lead to what I want to say. सवाल ही गलत हो तो कोई जवाब कैसे देगा? सवाल ही गलत हो तो कोई जवाब कैसे देगा? सीखने के पहले पंख काट दोगे तो कोई उड़ान कैसे भरे? मैं भी चाय की ट्रे लेकर कई बार बिकी हूं. मैं भी चाय की ट्रे लेकर कई बार बिकी हूं. चुपती आंखों से चुपती आंखों से ड्राइंग रूम में कई बार लड़ी. किसी ने कहा सलवार नहीं साड़ी में देखो. कोई बोला शाम को रंग सांवला लग रहा है, मैं दिन में देखूंगा. एक और भी था जो बोला मैं कुछ दिन बाद फिर से देखूंगा. सवाल बहुत थे, कुछ अलग होते तो जवाब दे देते. सवाल बहुत थे मेरे लिए होते तो मैं कुछ खुल के बोल भी लेती. एक बार बोला था मैंने, मैं काम में अच्छी हूं, मैं काम करना जानती हूं. वो बोले खाना बनाती हो या सफाई में अच्छी. ये भ्रम है कि आजकल ऐसा नहीं होता. समाज का एक वर्ग है. क्या आप सही सवाल पूछ रहे हैं? क्या आप किसी के पंख काट रहे हैं? मैं आजाद होना चाहती हूँ, मैं उड़ना चाहती हूँ. मैं कभी कभी सिर्फ मैं होना चाहती हूँ. जिम्मेदार तो थी, पर अपने इस सांचे के बाहर निकलना चाहती हूँ. मैं आजाद होना चाहती हूँ. सवाल ही गलत हो तो कोई जवाब कैसे दे? Now I want to clarify before I move ahead. I'm not going to. It is not feminism. And I think अगर इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को थोड़ा सा चेंज किया जाए तो ये लड़कों पे भी अप्लाई होता है कि पहले ही पंख काट दोगे तो हम उड़ान कैसे भरें. Because the moment we want to do something different, there is always somebody who wants to say कि no, it's not going to work. Mainstream. So this actually happened when I wrote this poem long, बहुत बाद में. But this actually happened where लड़के देखने जब चालू हुए तब actually there was a guy who saw me in the evening dinner time पे, and the family also. And you know what? We got a call after coming back home that थोड़ा लड़की का कलर रात में मिले इससे सांवला दिख रहा है. And I was made to sit at breakfast next day in a room. It was a setup where where there was window. The daylight is coming right on my face, so I look fair. So all that happened, but the problem was back to back, 5 to 6 guys rejected me for marriage. So my parents were quite depressed, and they said कि क्या करें? I heard their conversation. ये दिखती ठीक ठाक है, सब कुछ ठीक है, शादी क्यों नहीं हो रही? So everybody was worried. And क्या होता है? What happens generally in our country when these kind of obstacles come in marriage per se? What happens is that we go to an astrologer or pandit. So my mom took me to a palmist, convinced me, took me. I was very irritable and I just went, still went. I went, and the palmist, he was a 75-year-old man and he was not a professional. He was quite known for this. And he was just, looking at my hand, and I was like, पता नहीं क्या कर रहे हैं ये 10 मिनट से मेरे हाथ की लकीरें देखकर. And then finally he said that, he looked at my mom and said that, don't get her married, at least not for 1.5 years. If she gets married, शादी टूट जाएगी. So you please don't get her married. And he's saying that इसकी professional line और career बहुत अच्छा है, इसको आप पढ़ाओ. And trust me, I'm not kidding. I mean, I have friends who can vouch for this of that time. I did not know what profession word meant. I had no clue. And I said, पता नहीं ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? What is he saying? I used to drive a scooty. I took my mom back home. And after coming back home, my mom said, तू ना MBA कर ले. And plain simple, my reaction was, क्या कर लूं? She said, MBA कर ले. And I said, I don't want to do MBA. I've never been a very, I've never been a scholar. I was an average student. 70-75% के बीच में marks आ जाते थे. Mathematics borderline always. I was never uh, pushed towards studies. And I said, why should I do MBA? And one of my cousins had dropped a brochure, a new college and university which had opened in Raipur, BATS University, Bangalore-based college. A year back it had opened. My mom said, एक बार brochure तो देख ले. Just look at the brochure at least. So, गुस्से से कुड़ते हुए, I was just turning those pages. On the third page, my eyes got wide and twinkled. I said, this is it. Because on the third page, they had mentioned that there is an exchange program, 2 weeks exchange program to Singapore and Malaysia, and 2 weeks exchange program to Bangalore during the 2-year course. And I said, I've not been allowed to go to any picnic. I went to one picnic in all 12 years of my schooling. And I used to sit home, and all other my classmates used to go, and enjoy the picnics. I said, this is my golden chance. I went to my father. First time in my life I negotiated. I said, see, you want me to do MBA? He said, I said, I will do it. Only on one condition, that you let me travel and have these trips. And during these 2 years, you're not going to ask me to leave my course and get married. Because मुझे शादी करनी नहीं थी, उस समय at least. I was too comfortable in my comfort zone. He agreed. I said, wow, what an achievement for me. I went to the first day, 2004, to Maths University, Raipur. बाल में तेल लगे हुए, सलवार कमीज, पिन दुपट्टा, ऑयल हेयर, कंधे झुके हुए. धीरे धीरे I entered, and the first day of college, it was buzzing energy. People were doing high fives. Everybody was too excited. I said, I've killed myself. What have I've got myself into? How am I going to survive 2 years here? Something happened during the first week of MBA. And that's why I say that's the turning point of my life. Pain and pleasure are the two emotions that, and whether you like it or not, pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure. So don't run away from any pain, because pain is the only reason my journey turned around. I went the first day after the opening session and second professor that came to our class. We were 60 students, group of 60 students. And he divided us into pairs. The whole lot of us. After dividing us into pairs, there was a table on the side. There were a lot of books kept there. And he said that every pair is going to pick a book, and for a week, read the book together. And after a week, you're going to present the book review. I was nothing against guys, but I was paired with a guy, and this guy said, ना तो मैं book पढ़ूंगा, ना तो मैं review दूँ. जो करना तुम कर लो. And I said, fantastic. What a place I've got myself into. I had not read a book till then in my life apart from my syllabus. I picked the thinnest possible book. मैं घर आई. रात में मैंने कोशिश करी. I read a couple of pages. I dozed off. I said कोई बात नहीं, अगले दिन फिर कोशिश करते हैं. I read again. I again slept. मैंने कहा मेरी बस की नहीं है बुक पढ़ना. Thankfully, we had computer labs even in this small city. That time small, now it's growing. In our college, I went in the computer lab. I searched about the book. I wrote 5 lines in a sheet of paper. I said, मैं जाके बोल दूंगी, मुझे और कुछ नहीं. The day came after a week. After 15, 20 students, my turn came. I was standing in front of these 60 students with that thin, small paper in my hand. My hands were shivering. इतनी nervous थी मैं that my legs were shivering under the pajamas. Everybody could see. After 2 sentences, I froze. I could not move. And I got all teary-eyed and everything. And I froze. I could not even go back to my seat. Somebody said, Vibhuti, go back and sit in your seat. I went and sat, and the recess time, everybody came and consoled me that it's okay, Vibhuti. Everybody was nervous. You know what? The more they consoled, the more bad I felt. I came back home. I locked myself in my room for hours. I think 2-3 घंटे तो मैं रोई हूँ बिना रुके, without any stop, without any break. I cried so much because I felt so bad. That's the day when I asked the right questions to myself. Who are you? Who am I? Are you going to die like this? एक डेरी सहमी लड़की ऐसी मर जाओ या कुछ है अंदर? और अगर है तो क्या? I had no idea. I had no way out. But I realized that day that there were other people also who were nervous, but not to this extent. And where do I stand in a group of these 60 students? And I think the only good thing I used to do in my life at that time was journaling. I used to write a diary. I picked up my diary. और जब बहुत रोना निकल जाता है, लास्ट में गुस्सा होता है. When you cry a lot, after that, the anger comes up. I was angry with myself. And I said, what do I do to discover who I am, or to at least prove something to myself, if not to anybody else? And I said, और तो कुछ गोल समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे कि मैं क्या अचीव करूं, मैं क्या ही कर लूंगी लाइफ. So I wrote in my diary, यहीं फेल हुई हूं ना. I failed in this class as a speaker. I'll be the best speaker in this class amongst the 60 students by the time these 2 years ends. So in 2 years, my goal was to be the best speaker in the class. I wrote, and very filmy तरीके से I threw that diary, and I said, ये तो करना है लाइफ. बोलने से, लिखने से हो जाता है. If you write, it will happen. It doesn't write. Next day when I went to the college, आप सब मतलब MBA students can relate to it. Generally, the process is that a professor comes, explains the concepts, and then you have to present those concepts in front of students. That happens a lot of time. So there was an economics professor. He came and he explained the concept, and he said the next day, he said, I want somebody to present this concept after 2 days. Who's going to do it? I raised my hand. The girl sitting next to me was doing like this, mat kar, don't do it. Because she saw my halat the day before. And I said, and for 1 year, I kept raising my hands. I know exactly after 6 months, I reached a point where I was thinking that, nahi ho paayega. How am I going to reach there? I have no content. My grammar was pathetic. I couldn't speak English properly. I do not have any grooming. कोई grooming, कैसे कपड़े पहनने नहीं आते थे. Diction was not clear. Content was getting very, very small. I mean, if I have to speak for 20 minutes, after 10 minutes, I used to keep repeating what I'm saying, what I've already said. I said, ऐसे तो नहीं चल. So I said, what do I do? I said, I can't go to any of my cousins, any of my friends. They were not connected to this field. So there was a very small bookstore in Raipur, corner bookstore. I'm talking about 2004, 2005, 20 years back. And I went there and there was this guy sitting on the counter. I said, वर्ल्ड की 5 बेस्ट सेलर्स जो होंगी ना सेल्फ हेल्प, मुझे दे दो, बट टॉप वर्ल्ड की, नॉट इंडिया, वर्ल्ड की. He gave me 5 books. I bought those books. This is one book that has changed my life. Awaken. This is the book I got. Out of 5 books, this is one of the books. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. इस बुक के पेजेस मेरे वॉल पे लगे हुए. I pasted the pages and on the wall because ये वो वाली कॉपी है 2004 वाली, 2005 वाली. Because by the time I started my journey here back in Raipur, the pages were all, coming out. इतनी पुरानी book थी, 20 साल पुरानी. But that energy I wanted to hold back to. So I pasted all the pages. And I feel that every time I sit here in my office space, it gives me that energy. So books played a major role in changing my life. After 1 year in this process, I was declared one of the best speaker of the class. Every professor that would walk in would ask me to lead the presentation. In that 1 year, my confidence and my everything from here, it reached to a peak. उस समय मुझे ऐसा लगा that I can do anything in life now. Anything. Because it was self-discovery, self-awareness. But in this whole process, something very important happened. And that was, these books were telling me, how do you lead life? They were telling me that you can't just waste this human life. They were telling me, think about 30 years from now, where you'll be. Think about the last day of your life. How do you want people to remember you? What is the and I was like, I've never been told to live and think life about that. That what is my contribution as a human being when I go by from this, earth. And if this guy and these people, and there's so many examples who already have a vision of 30 years ahead, why can't I have that vision? And that's where I started thinking about 30 years ahead from there. But these 15 saal ho gaye, I'm halfway through. And I'm guaranteeing you, nothing can stop me from that 30-year vision, but which I crafted in 2007 and 6. Nothing. So this is the journey I've spoken about from 2004 or prior, 2002 till 2007 or 8, where I started. उसके बाद की जर्नी में बाद में बताऊंगी. मुझे कुछ सवाल चाहिए. I want you all to speak and ask or share something, because otherwise it will become a monologue, which I don't want. Any thought that comes to your mind right now while listening to, one story. This is one of the stories. There are many stories that you can hear in life.
I think Vishwanath would have some, questions for ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. We have some questions for you.
Sure.
Like, which aspects of motivation, like, do you find essential as a motivational speaker when someone is drenched in a cobweb of negativity?
So whenever somebody is, really down the spiral where they are into a negative zone, I personally feel, because 15 साल हो गए मैंने one-to-one counseling coaching बहुत करी है. I've done a lot of one-to-one counseling coaching for across ages. And there is no copy-paste formula. You have to go dive into the story of the person who has gone through a plethora of emotions while reaching to a point that आज मैं negative zone में. What was his childhood or her childhood? What is his story or her story? How and why that person's pain? Because जो मेरा पेन था उस समय कॉलेज में, शायद आपका पेन डिफरेंट होगा. आपको शायद उतनी मुश्किलें नहीं देखनी पड़ी होंगी, या आपको ज्यादा मुश्किलें देखनी पड़ी होंगी. It's very different, right? So it's very subjective. So this kind of question is very, very subjective. If you are in a very negative zone, please speak to a professional. so that you can get to the root cause of why you, because life में क्या होता है ना, sometimes we have clarity, sometimes we know that what we are good at, we take 2 steps ahead and we take 4 steps backward, back, पीछे रह जाते 4 कदम, and we don't understand that why. सब तो है मेरे अंदर, I'm good enough, I have all the skills, I've cracked a lot of competitive exams, I've reached somewhere, I stand out. Then what is the fear? Then what is stopping me to take that leap of faith? That is very subjective. So I think that self-awareness, understanding what stops you, that self-discovery journey is very subjective, and you need to have mentors, you need to speak to people who can actually, हम सबके blind spots होते हैं, हमें नहीं पता होता. From, if I have studied psychology so much now in 15 years that शायद बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड कॉम्प्लेक्स क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स मेरे पास हैं, बट मैं भी ब्लाइंड स्पॉट पे खड़ी होंगी, तब मुझे मेरे मेंटर्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी. सो प्लीज, इफ यू गेट इनटू अ नेगेटिव स्पाइरल जोन, प्लीज सीक प्रोफेशनल हेल्प. Utmost important, because no book, no formula, if anybody says that कि ये formula है, ये हर लाइफ में अप्लाई होगा, it's not going to work. It's a false hope that you're getting. No. You can't stay 365 days positive. Positive raho, अच्छा सोचो. Not possible all the time. I hope that answers your question. Yes, I can see 2 hands that have they want to ask
Yes, ma'am.
questions.
Yes.
Yes.
Ravi can.
Good evening, ma'am. First of all, it was very nice to, listen to your story, ma'am. I wanted to ask a question that how to manage, ma'am, the personal and professional life effectively when, a person is torn between the 2 lives. There are so many imbalances, so it's too tough. So how to manage it effectively, ma'am?
So again, very broad question. I'll try to answer it as briefly I can. The 5 books I was referring to, there was one of the books, Think and Grow Rich, that I think answered this question very early in my life while I was MBA. And no other book of goal setting, I have never seen this answer or this statement in any other book, where Napoleon Hill said that हर सपने की कीमत होती है. Every dream has a price. The bigger the dream, the bigger the price. So if I actually stood in front of my MBA class and said one day, after I'd got that confidence, you speak in front of 10,000 people in an auditorium on the topic purpose of life. There were friends who said, yes, Vibhuti, you're going to do it. There were others who were smiling and saying, कि क्या बात कर रही है, रायपुर के एक छोटे से शहर के छोटे से कॉलेज में 60 बच्चों के बीच में इतनी बड़ी बात कह रही. But Think and Grow Rich told me one thing, that book, that if I want to actually achieve that dream, sacrifices करनी, balance करो. You have to balance your personal and professional life, but you also have to accept that there are no free lunches in life. So if you are aspiring to have big dreams, achieve really something big, your personal life is going to get sacrificed at some point. You might have to balance it later on. You know what? I always tell this story that my kids, I'm a single mother, I'm divorced. And I hardly get, in a day, I think I get to spend 15 to 20 minutes with my kids, not more than that. I went to parents teachers meeting last week and I got 0 complaints about my kids. They're in bed 8:30 every day, every single day. And I recently, spoke on a TEDx platform. And what a beautiful thing to hear that there's a TEDx club in my school, in my kids' school, after curricular activities. And my daughter joined that. She's 10 years old. And I went and met the teacher who runs that club. And she said, I'm a fan of your daughter. Now, if I'm spending only 15 minutes a day with my daughter, maximum, I don't take them out on weekends. Weekends are the most hectic days of my work. There's no outing for them. They go with their nani if they go at all. मंथ में एक बार पिज्जा ऑर्डर हो जाता है और मैगी बन जाती है एक दो बारी. That's there and they're okay with it. And maybe there'll be a day, the day will come when I can extend more. अभी नहीं. अभी ये जर्नी कुछ और डिमांड कर रही. So I cannot feel guilty about being this person right now to my, because I see their progress. जहां जरूरत है मैं कर पा रही. So assess this based on what is your dream, what is your journey, what is your priority right now. और वो कुछ ना कुछ तो छूटेगा नहीं, सब कुछ हासिल नहीं हो सकता, कुछ तो छूटे. बड़े सपने हैं तो कुछ तो छूटे. That's, I hope that satisfies and that answers your question. Yes, I have one more question. I think Vishal wants to ask something.
During college presentation, I also feel a bit nervous. So I would love to know how you transform yourself as a good speaker within just a 1 year.
So, Vishal, that in that time, no, I mean, there was certain, you're also in that same age bracket. There was a crazy kind of zeal. And I had, because my pain was so big of failing and feeling of being nothing, that I wanted to prove around the 60 students. After 15 years plus, now if I see, and if I can reflect and tell you, I can only say one thing. Anybody who speaks well is a voracious reader. If you want to speak well, read, go dive yourself into reading. If I have to speak for 1 hour, I should be prepared to have a content for 8 hours. That's the power of being a good speaker. Because confidence content se aayega, that you know everything about the subject that you want to speak about. After 5-10 minutes, everything fizzles out. It's all about that you're able to answer those questions or you're able to speak at length about that particular topic. You want to be a good speaker? First, be a good reader. Because I dived myself into books in that 1 year. And I know what results I got. उसके बाद तो बहुत मैजिकल किस्से हुए मेरे साथ, वो मैं बताऊंगी आफ्टर एक दो और क्वेश्चंस लेते हैं, फिर मैं आई कम बैक टू पोस्ट 2008 क्या हुआ in my life. There's so many people we are out of, I mean, they're not on the video. I mean, it's so difficult to speak to a blank screen. I would request everybody to come, on video and speak. Or at least I would feel I'm speaking to humans, ऐसे AI हमारी life, it's eating up.
Can I ask you a question, ma'am?
Yes, Nitish, please.
Yeah. So you had also been a motivational speaker, as we know, and you're also a trainer. You train people for companies. So what's the basic difference between training people and just motivating them as a motivational speaker?
What major difference नहीं, because I think we bifurcate these things a lot. But what is motivation? Anybody who thinks that I cannot motivate you ever in life. You can find some inspiration within yourself. Motivation comes from within. If I can prick you and poke you on your pain points, that might trigger some motivation. जहां तक मेरी जर्नी रही है नितिश, एंड जहां तक मैंने काम करा है, मेरी कोशिश यही रही है, my efforts are that even if I'm in a corporate training zone, I want to poke people in their pain areas. So that somewhere instigates a thought in them, because in 5-6 hours, 1 hour is too less to motivate you. I can't motivate you. Motivation is too intrinsic. Maybe there's some inspiration you can find. So the difference between inspiration is more powerful, because you get inspired and then you start reflecting in your life and you find that, अच्छा मुझे इस जगह में कुछ काम है. Motivate आप एक time being के लिए हो सकते हो एक training session में, that's it. It's very, very futile. Motivation is always intrinsic. That's what I feel. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
Ma'am, we have
Thank you.
like
Thank you for that.
few more questions to be asked from Sonia and
I'm open. I'm happy to do this more than sharing my journey. Yes. Who's going to
Sonia.
first?
Hello, ma'am. The
Sonia?
session is very motivating so far. I'm Sonia. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes,
So my question is very basic. So what would be your suggestions to our college people, like our college, IIM Kashipur students?
So, when I moved from 2008, I moved to Dubai from a small town. And I had this feeling. I was terribly scared because, as I told you, my grammar, my English, my grooming, it was all zero. I got married, went there. And the first time I spoke in front of an international audience and I proposed an event or organized an event, there were a lot of people who told me that, जितनी आपने पढ़ाई करी है रायपुर मैथ्स यूनिवर्सिटी कैट कोचिंग कभी करा नहीं एमबीए कभी ऐसे कोई बड़े कॉलेज से एमबीए करा नहीं your workshops, how do you know that your workshops will work there? So the person I was having a conversation with, I asked that, have you been to Dubai? That person said no. So I said, have you worked in Dubai? No. And I said, how do you know? And mera bhi pehli baar hai. Let me first give it a try. If it doesn't work, then I assess that what is less in me right now. How do I have to upgrade myself to reach there? My first workshop in Dubai, I had 9 people. उसमें से 2 ही paid attendees थे, बाकी सब free वाले थे. The best part was I had 5 nationalities sitting in front of me, from Saudi, from Sri Lanka, Scandinavian countries, on purpose of life. 3 hours workshop. I got fantastic feedback. I said, कुछ नहीं, यहाँ पे हो जाए. Your question is such a deep and broad question, Sonia, that what is my suggestion to you? I feel that sometimes girls, guys, boys from small town have pressure of how will I make it big, because I come from a 2-tier city or 3-tier city. But sometimes some people who are from IITs and IIMs have another pressure that I'm studying from such a prestige. What if I don't make it? What will I do with this tag of studying from IIM? That's a different kind of pressure, isn't it? But pressure is there always. I would recommend all of you, channelizing this thought from Sonia's question, that go through a journey of clarity. Clarity is power. See, the day I had clarity ki this is my journey, this is my core, this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do in life. The moment I had that clarity, things will become tough times. But I said, nahi, wahan to jana hai. I always say, when you have something to look forward to, you don't look backwards. But when the forward journey is so vague and hazy, you always will look backwards and current situation, whatever is not working in your life. Put all your energy to reach some clarity. Where do you want to land up 10 years, 15 years from now? Self-awareness, what you're good at, what you're bad at, what gives you pleasure, what gives you pain, what is the zone of lack and zone of abundance. That's another topic, but once you know that this is abundantly there in you, कि आप जितना भी दो खत्म नहीं होगा, उस पे focus करो, and you'll create magic in life. That I'm sure about. I can guarantee that. I hope that answers.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, Pranath.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. So, ma'am, as a founder at the Project Purpose, so how you look at the training industry and what you feel that the changes the training industry require and how you are targeting those?
Right. So I'll take this opportunity to speak about 2008 ki journey ke baad. Maybe that will give you a lot of perspective, right? So while I was after MBA, I started working and conducting training sessions here in Raipur and Chhattisgarh, where we used to go to steel plants and power plants, because this is a belt which has a lot of steel plants and power plants. So we used to go and conduct positive attitude, all these soft topics which use communication skills. When I moved to Dubai and I started working, I thought that after a year of marriage, I took a sabbatical. Because it was an arranged marriage, and I said, I need to know how to run a house also. I had no idea. I had no idea how to cook. So I went into a journey of learning cooking and doing all of this. And then I started looking for a company who was organizing events with a lot of big speakers, because I wanted to learn being in international space after doing this workshop, which I told you. And I got to know about this company called Right Selection, and they were doing events, speaker events, with these speakers who जिनकी किताबें मैं पढ़ती थी. Brian Tracy, Marshall Goldsmith, Tony. I said, I printed my profile. I booked a session, one of the speaker events that was happening nearby my house. I booked, I went. During the lunchtime, I'd already read about the owners of the company. I went to the owner and I said that this is my profile. I'm a corporate trainer. I want to work with you, with your company. And this is my vision. And I've just moved to Dubai. I said, ज़्यादा ना बोलेगा और क्या है. He gave me his card and he said, can you meet me next week this day? I went. The second round of interview happened and I got my job was done. When I entered that office and I saw the speakers they are working with, after a few months, a lot of people said that you're so lucky. And trust me, it is not luck. I manifested this because I had clarity of 30 years of my journey beforehand. I attracted this in my life. After 6 months, few months, I was sitting having dinner with Brian Tracy, who's written, more than 60 books. Eat That Frog, every topic, leadership, sales, every millions of copies sold. 2012, I'm sitting with Jack Canfield, who's written, I'm sure you've heard about the book series, Chicken Soup for the Soul series. The Secret, to sabne suni. So The Secret ka 6 authors mein se one of the authors is Jack Canfield. And the most magical moment, I got to know that Jarek Robbins is coming to Dubai. We are organizing an event for Jarek Robbins. Jarek Robbins is son of Tony Robbins. He's my idol. The book that changed my life, right? When we were organizing, I was selling that the seats of that event. I was promoting, marketing, sales. Sab mein main involved thi. And I told my boss that he's there for 3 days. I opened that session for him. I introduced him. And I said that I want one dinner with this guy. And his wife and me and my ex-husband, we went for a dinner. And that day I felt I'm 1 degree away from my idol, Tony Robbins, who is the world's top gurus. Now, every time this kind of moment used to happen, I used to go back to 2004 and 2006, where it was all about ये 60 students के बीच में best speaker बने. The 5 years of that job was gold mine for me, because I told my bosses I will drop them, I will pick them from the airport. I forgot balance of life. I said I want to be around them because that's where I want to reach. So I want to know how they eat, how they breathe, how they sleep, how they talk, how they walk, how they sit, everything. I want to absorb that, and I did. So you have to give yourself so much into it without thinking that मुझे लगता है, not complaining about today's generation, but there is a dearth of grit, that if you want to be in any field, you want to be an expert, you want to make a name, you have to pack 15 years, you have to give 10 to 15 years in that field. Then you make a mark. But after 2 years, if you say कि कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, then बड़ा तो कैसे करोगे? How? कैसे हो सकता है? कैसे possible है? In that 5 years, I realized that no, ठीक है, you've got a validation that you're speaking well, but बहुत कमी है grooming की, बहुत चीजों में upgrade करना है अपने आप को. So I made a list of what these speakers are doing, the internationally acclaimed speakers. I said, these are my milestones. And I want to be like them. So these milestones के लिए मुझे अपने आप को upgrade करना पड़ता. So 2007, I did a certification called NLP, a neuro-linguistic programming. It's a psychology-based subject, first level, second level. I did mind mapping certification. I upgraded where in Dubai, if I enter a corporate, I can say I'm an NLP trainer. I'm a mapping licensed trainer. Because when I first time got a project with ADNOC, Abu Dhabi Oil Company, it's a giant in UAE. And my profile got approved for a mind mapping session. You know, for who? For the strategy department of Abu Dhabi Oil Company. 30 to 40 people in that range to 2 days workshop to conduct a mind mapping workshop. I went. Before start of the workshop, I went to the washroom. I said, Vibhuti, गलती से भी ये मत बता देना कि तू रायपुर से और मैथ्स यूनिवर्सिटी से MBA कर. ये इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं देना है. Because their confidence in me will drop. I'm telling you why I'm telling you this story. I said I was too nervous because 80% of the audience sitting in front of me were Arabs in the age bracket of 50 plus with so much experience. After the first introduction round and the tea break came and I went to the washroom and there was this girl, the cleaning lady who was cleaning the washroom, and I was doing deep breathing. It's okay, you're gonna get through this, it's okay. I was doing this and she saw me and she smiled. I said, please, don't mind, but I'm not. So I said, where are you from, Mom? I just asked her. She said, I'm from Sri Lanka. I said, I'm from India. I said, how long you've been working? Just I started chit-chatting. And there was this Eid break that was coming. I said, Eid break is coming. I want to go back to Sri Lanka. She said, no. I said, how many kids you have? She told me about the kids and everything. I said, are you going to home? She said, no, ma'am, I can't. I said, why? She said, I have two choices. Either I save money and don't go to Sri Lanka and contribute to my kids' education next year, or I go back and meet them. It's been 2 years, I've not met them. I said, how do you communicate to them? I said, video calls every day. And while speaking and sharing, she got teary eyed. And it was just a moment. She hugged me. And I said, I wish and hope that you'll see your kids soon. I said, I'm very nervous for this workshop right now. Just give me some blessings. And she put her hand on my head, on my, and I said, Ab to I am going to kill it. But with the feeling, I went and it was fantastic, the feedback and everything. So through this story and example, I wanted to answer your question that, clarity is power. And long-term vision is important. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to know every single detail of where you will be 30 years. A vague idea of what is your core? What are you good at? What gives you happiness? What is it that you do that you lose the sense of time, food? When I paint a wall for 12 hours, I lose sense of time, food, everything. Give me water, music, I don't need anything. To reach to the point, you have to go through a self-exploration journey. I hope, there were some points that answers your question, Pranath, with this story.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a question for you. You have also been at adjunct faculty at MIT University Dubai. Like, whom do you find tough, to teach students or train the corporates, and why?
Oh my, what a beautiful question. So definitely in corporates, there are some restrictions because see, a corporate will do a need analysis that these are our pain points. And at the end of the day, a corporate would like to focus on the profits. There are corporates which are working on social impact, social enterprises where their focus is also on the purpose, the meaning. When I got a call to, come and teach students in Amity University, Dubai, I'd never taught by that time. I'd never done a teaching. I'd done some one-off programs like these. So I went there and Vishwanath, right?
Yes.
It took me back to 2018 and very close to my heart, this whole project, where I went and I wanted to go with an intent. वहाँ पे 1800 बच्चे थे, 1800 students in that university. So I had a session with my mentor and I said to her that, you know what, this is the first time I'm going to teach students. Probably I'll stay there for a year at least. I want to go to with an intent that I want to touch each and every student's heart positively, influence. She said, it's a beautiful intent. She said, Vibhuti, how are you going to do it? I said, I'm going to prepare my content and classes. I'll study so much. I'm going to kill it in my classes. And she started laughing. Now, she knows me from my MBA days. So she started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? She said, you're going to fail. I said, why? So I said, I earn a living out of my speaking. I'm good at speaking. I'm good at my content. I'm going to focus on that. She said, no. Don't operate from your throat chakra. So I said, then what? She said, operate from your heart chakra. That day, she explained me a concept called lack of abundance and lack of zone of lack and zone of abundance. If anybody of 42 students are here, or 42 people are here, out of 42, if even 2 people get this straight, it can create magic in your life, trust. She told me, I said, what is my zone of abundance? So all of us, each and every human being has zone of abundance. हमारे अंदर एक ऐसी चीज होती है जो हम जितना बांटे वो कम नहीं होती, खत्म नहीं हो सकती. It can be related to how you speak, how you sing, how you help others, how you articulate your thoughts. It can be anything, but it is so natural in you. It's like a natural instinct. So I told her, हाँ तो ठीक है ना, zone of abundance तो मेरा है, I speak very well. And she said no. So she said, focus on your heart chakra. And subjective, I'm very contextually, I'm telling you this conversation. She said this because she knew me for so long. So I said, what do you mean? I said, what pops up? What story is popping up in your mind? Because you're getting agitated. I was getting angry. I said, आप मुझे ना वही विभूति बनाना चाहते हैं, वही stupid विभूति जो मैं थी अपने school or college time. She said, what is the event that is coming up? I said, I had 5 friends because my both parents were working. My mother was helping my father in business. My house was always empty. और जिसका घर खाली होता है सारे फ्रेंड्स वहीं. सो पूरे दिन मेरे फ्रेंड्स मेरे घर पे होते थे. Whenever these people used to come, I used to ask them, क्या खाओगे, whatever you want to have, eat or drink. जनरली ऐसा होता था, कोई बोलता था मुझे कॉफी चाहिए, मुझे चाय चाहिए, मुझे नींबू पानी चाहिए. 3-4 different things. I used to go in the kitchen for 20 minutes, prepare everything alone and bring different things for different people. And they would chit chat and I would give them. So I told my mentor that I used to feel stupid. That why couldn't I pick one thing common, or at least somebody come with me to prepare. But no, because I did not have the guts to say this to them, I used to prepare. So she asked me point blank one thing, that were you happy whenever you used to serve whatever the other person used to? जिसने coffee बोली उसको coffee मिल गई जिसे. And I was like looking down and she said, you can't fool me. So say the truth. And like this, I said, yeah, I used to be happy. She said, your core of abundance is you want to find out what the person needs. मैं कोई महान नहीं बता रही अपने आप को, but हर किसी में core of abundance होता है. आपके अंदर भी होगा. You want to find out what the person needs, and if you are able to give that to that person, you're happy. So it hit me very hard. So she said, if at all you can focus on this concept while you do this journey of your teaching, you're going to kill it. I said, ठीक, I'll give it a try. And trust me, lessons तो मैं prepare करके जाती थी. But first day, first class, BBA batch थी, 9 बजे सुबह, 60, 70 students. And I went and stood in front of them and I said, see, this is my first class ever in my life. And I'm extremely nervous. Can somebody come and give me a hug? And they were like, obviously the guys didn't come up, but few girls came and they gave me a hug. Everybody was smiling that he kaun si faculty aayi hai jo asking for a hug. I said, that's it. 14 classes, 550 students. Every batch I went and said the same thing, that I'm nervous, I need a hug. And I got so much hug and I got the icebreaker. But Vishwant,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, the magical moment happened when I had got through that ice breaking and these guys had trust in me. And we had an event called, we used to do social awareness program. Every semester, mid-semester, we had to do a social awareness program. Psychology departments, behavioral science was what I was teaching. And we were told that kuch event organized. So there was a friend of mine. She was a CSR consultant. She's a bridge between NGOs and corporates to propose them कि कैसे ये आपका जो amount है जो आपने fix कर रखा तो आप अच्छी जगह use कर सकते हैं. And I proposed that एक carnival करते हैं. Let's do a carnival of NGOs. Let's call NGOs to the college and these kids will, you know, participate in it. There was out of the 10 NGOs that participated, they were catering to, कहानी बहुत लंबी तो नहीं है, you are not getting bored, right? I mean, you can stop me, and if I'm going over a bit of time, please raise hands and tell me. I'm going to stop there and there. So I'm going to quickly finish this story, if at all there are some questions to cater to. Bring Hope Foundation used to cater to a refugee camp between and they said, we want in that event your students to write letters of hope, anonymous letters of hope, which will be sent to the refugee camps. I got excited. They said that हमारे पास volunteers नहीं है. From your university, can somebody be in that booth? I raised my hands. I came back home. I put a target of 500 letters. I said 500 letters मुझे करने हैं इस event. I had 500 students, 550 students. I went to each class and that week and I said, if I've done anything good to you in this half semester, I want each and every person of you, each and every person in the class to write a letter. They said yes. The day came, May 18, 2018. And we had reached around 425 letters. And there was a student who came and he said, ma'am, kitne hue? Maine 425. For 40 minutes, he sat and wrote 20 letters. I said, ma'am, 445. We will make sure 500 letters to aap pahuncho. We reached 500 letters and the volunteers and we took a deep breath. I said, ki ye target to ho. 40-45 minutes were left event. Magic happened after that. In 40 minutes, we crossed 700 letters. I can never forget that moment where I'm holding those letters in my hand. वो खत, वो letters camp में भेजे गए. Next day, I got a call from this friend of mine, Aishwarya, who was the CSR. She said, Bring Hope Foundation is going mad. They said, किसी event में हमने इतनी बारी activity की है, 700 letters एक event में 4 घंटे में नहीं create हुए. So they want to extend the activity. I said, what do you mean extend that? So she said that वो camp में एक event करेंगे जहाँ बच्चों से वो letters reply करवाएं. 7, 8 years to 14 years kids are going to reply some. Whatever amount of letters are coming back, it has to reach to me, not to the university. वो घूम जाएंगे. 15 दिन बाद मेरे पास एक courier आया जिसमें 30 letters. I opened it with an excitement that wow, I want to see what replies have come. Letters of hope, उम्मीद भरे खत. but my jaw dropped because सारे Arabic में थे letters. So I said I can't read them. There was a guy from Pakistan, Faisal, हमारी team में. I called him. I said, Faisal, can you please come? आप सऊदी में रहे हो इतने साल. Can you translate? बोलता मैम मैं सऊदी में रहा हूँ मुझे थोड़ी पता है Arabic पढ़ना थोड़ी आता. But he knew the intensity of this event, so he called a guy जो translate कर सकते हैं. वो आए, उन्होंने translate करा. ट्रांसलेट करने के बाद जब हम लेटर्स पढ़ रहे थे ना, हम ऑफिस में सब बैठ के, एवरीबडी वाज क्राइंग, क्योंकि एक भी लेटर में कोई कंप्लेन नहीं थी. देयर इज अ किड, a 9-year, 8-year-old kid who's saying that you have told in this letter that one day you'll get out of this camp and have your own home. I will live this with this hope. I wish I had a perfume bottle to send back to you. There's another kid who was saying that, you've written in the letter that please finish your schooling no matter what. I promise you I'm going to finish the school, my schooling. And we were all crying. And then I asked this guy that, Faisal ko maine bola ki unko just ask him how much can we pay for the translation. And he came and said, ma'am, मैं पैसे नहीं लूँगा. I said, no, ऐसे मत कीजिए, आपने इतना टाइम दिया. तो he said, ma'am, आप मुझे नहीं जानते, मैं आपको जानता हूँ. And I was surprised. I said, how? So he said, ma'am, पिछले 2-2.5 साल पहले फैजल भाई ने had posted your poem in his page, and I started following your poetry page. And for last 1.5 years, 3,000 people in my WhatsApp different groups from in Pakistan, I've been sending every poem, sharing every poem of yours. And my wife is a big fan of your poetry. I cannot take any money from you. Life came full circle in that moment for me. So the difference between speaking to students and corporates is that there is so much change work can be done in that point. Because after 25-30, there are very rigid mindsets. It's very difficult to break that barrier. And that's why any opportunity that brings me to students, I would grab any day. So yeah, long answer to your question, but I thought it's an important story to share.
Thank you. I would like to ask, if there are any other questions for anyone to ask.
Are there any questions, or I'll come to the concluding part?
Yeah, you can concluding this. Yes.
So the concluding part is that from where I started, I had no dreams. I found my calling, but I stretched it to make it big and big and big. And sometimes, even if you don't have guidance in life, there are enough number of books, enough number of videos now, audio books that are available. I mean, I'm surrounded by books. I do book workshops. I've done 10 book workshops. जब मैं पढ़ती भी नहीं किताब है. Clarity of where you are, where you want to go, and where you are stuck. These are the 3 main questions you need to ask yourself. Is stopping. Seek help. Have mentors in life. Be surrounded with people who are ready to help you break barriers, the limiting beliefs that you have. Because in Dubai, an international space, speaking in front of 10 nationalities, 15 nationalities, being from a small town, I never thought that I could break that. But the power that मैं अपने आप को ये बोलती थी, तुम्हें वहां पहुंचना है. You want to speak in front of 10,000 people one day. How can you be bogged down with this small audience? Because that was more bigger than whatever challenges I was facing in that time. So my advice would be, it doesn't matter where you are from, where you belong. It is the clarity of the journey that you want to be. Ask yourself, nobody, or you want to do something in life. And if the answer comes that I want to live a simple life, I don't want to do something big, that's also okay. But at least have that clarity. What is that journey that you want to pursue? Once that clarity is there, that will help you. See, once I have the clarity, I'll have the right question. Once I have the right questions, I'll look for people who can answer the right questions. It is like a domino effect. Clarity is power. That's what my concluding point would be. If at all any question, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, there is one question from my side, ma'am.
Sure, Nitish.
So, being a motivational speaker was a conscious decision, or just it happened, just as you said that I was in this college and I pledged myself and took an oath to myself that I was the best speaker. So after that, was it a very conscious choice, or it just happened?
No, so my first point of questioning myself that who am I came from a pain point. Ki, who am I in front of these 60 students? That time I didn't know I want to become a motivational speaker. Once I could cross that boundary and I could sense that I am one of the best speakers of this class. What else can I do? Now your journey is defined around your skills and talents also, isn't it? Your calling. Emotions, if emotions and calling, your calling and your skills and talent can be merged, there is no way that anything can stop you in life. Because of achieving a goal of becoming one of the best speakers in the class, I was reading these books. Something embarked inside me. Once I achieved that point, I said, agar main ye kar sakti hu, without any guidance and mentor, anybody can do it. So that means there is something in this whole process that is very magical. Can I share this knowledge later on once I achieve something? And also, the best way to assess your calling is how much are you enjoying doing anything. Every time after that, I was standing in front of these 60 students, I used to feel so good every single time. Then I said that if I feel so good about it, at the end of the day, we all want to feel good about ourselves, isn't it? In whatever we do. So if every time I'm in front of people and speaking, I'm feeling good about myself, I understood that I have to do something around this. This is one of my callings, if not the only one. And that's how I lined it up into poetry also, in that same process.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions? Not a single girl has asked any question.
I think there was one girl who has asked the question. I think
Yes,
her name was
Sonia.
Sonia, if I'm not wrong.
Right? Only one. Anyways, are there any questions?
So Vishwanath, are there any questions, or should we conclude the session?
Yeah, we can conclude this session.
Sure. I'm really
Yeah,
thankful,
one
first of all, to Vibhuti ma'am for sparing her very busy schedule, to give the time to us and to the students of IIM Kashipur also, that they are listening on a weekend. That's most important. So thank you everyone, Vibhuti ma'am, Vishwanath, Nitesh, and all the team of the IIM Kashipur for hosting ma'am. Thank you.
I also want to compliment. I want to express my profound gratitude to Vibhuti Duggar for gracing us with her presence and invaluable insights. Vibhuti ma'am, your journey and mission are truly inspiring. You have illuminated our minds and hearts with your wisdom, emphasizing the importance of purpose and motivation in our lives. On behalf of all of us, I extend a sincere thank you for your time, energy, and your profound messages. Your impact will continue to resonate within us as we embark on our own quest for purpose and success. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.